Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Academy Jiu-Jitsu
Embedded.
So Garrett Waltzer, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you got started with Academy. Actually, you could start by giving us a little bit of your background. When did you get started with Jiu-Jitsu?
So I got started 13 years ago. I started with striking when I was a kid. So I've been doing martial arts for 20 years. I transitioned to Jiu-Jitsu when I was 12 years old. So I've been training for almost 13 years right now.
And when you say you start with other things, what were you doing as far as martial arts?
So when I was a kid, I got a Taekwondo black belt. So I started when I was 5. I got a Taekwondo black belt when I was a kid. And then I got into Muay Thai for a long time, like Muay Thai kickboxing.
Did you ever have any smoker fights or anything like that?
I used to do a lot of Taekwondo competitions.
Oh, okay.
So I got like a bag full of like kid medals, when I was a little kid.
That's awesome. I wish I would have done some martial arts. I didn't start anything until I was 21 years old. So how old are you now?
24.
24. Okay. Well, yeah. So you got a long ways to go still for Masters Division. When you started with the Academy, you started teaching a little bit of leg lock games and all that to all our white belts. What are you doing now when you share Jiu-Jitsu with us as far as leg locks? Is it IBJJF legal? What's the direction you're heading in?
More like IBJJ legal leg locks. So trying to hit like stuff that like everyone can use in competitions. I think that a lot of people don't realize like how deep the leg lock system that's legal in IBJJ is. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think it's only like for like for higher ranks for illegal. Right. But there's like a whole system of like IBJJ legal leg locking, and like I'll put in the heel hooks for like like advanced people on the side. But the focus is the like the IBJJ legal.
For sure, yeah. So like one thing that you were actually talking to me earlier about was setting up an ankle lock from the honey hole for white belts. Can you go a little bit into that?
So the system for rule set is like you can't reap as a white belt, right? And you can't do that in any gi tournament either, even as a black belt. But if you're in honey hole, which is like a reap but the leg is on the inside, and you grab the other leg, that's an exception. Because the idea is you can't put external pressure on the knee. But if you're in like a straight ankle and the leg is passed across and then you reap, as long as you don't touch the inside leg, you're good. So the concept is like if I have like a honey hole, like I have on one leg and I can straight ankle the other leg, that's legal. And a lot of people never touch that in the gi, so it's really easy to use that system. And then also transitioning for passes too.
I think that's super awesome, especially because that's a little bit outside of my forte of expertise. So, and that's one of the things that Academy is all about, and what we really are all about the collective. Okay, so the thing here is not Hector Beltran Jiu-Jitsu or Mateo Tanzero's Jiu-Jitsu. It's everybody together, and nobody has a perfect 100% game that covers everything. Everyone has something different to bring to the table. There's a million different, well, not a million, but I would say 1,000 different ways to answer for the same problem. And like the thing that you're talking about right now is not things that I came up using. I was using instead of using the ankle locks from the honey hole position. It's just like for me back when I started doing jiu-jitsu, it's like, oh no, just pass the guard. Just pass the guard. But the game's evolving and you gotta stay current with it. So tell us a little bit about recently in your jiu-jitsu journey. You say you've been doing you started jiu-jitsu, you said at 12 or 13?
Yeah.
Right. So bring us to now. Where did you get your belts, and where are you at now?
So see, I started. I've been training almost 13. So I would have been 11 or 12 when I started, and I came up originally under Gracie Baja, so I had a strong background in the gi. And then I always competed coming up. When I was 16, I was the number 1 ranked juvenile in the world for IBJJF, and that was all like gi based.
Awesome.
Like before I was a blue belt at the time. But so I came up with like a heavy like gi background, and then I started transitioning into like all the no gi stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been doing training like with like like all the top like no gi guys now for like 3 years. To the point where I'm like I feel really good with all the it's like the Danaher leg lock systems, and then the Eddie Bravo 10 Planet systems, like specifically for no-gi, but without a strong foundation, it doesn't work, right? So the combination of having traditional jiu-jitsu to add is why like it takes a village.
Absolutely. So that's actually where I met you, training at 10 Planet HQ, taking a class over there. During the training, during the free rolls, I got to actually roll with you. And what was really cool was you're the guy that gave me the most difficult time that day. And I forgot what you called me with. I think you submitted me with the dead orchard, which is like a kind of like a high guard triangle where you have both arms in and are able to armbar your opponent. But the way you set it up and the way you kept me in a position where you didn't allow me to pass your guard, I was like, this guy's guard retention is way too good. So I recognized you immediately as an anomaly within the no-gi scene. And then after I found out that you had an extensive gi background, I was like, aha.
Like that's all gi.
That's all gi.
Applying to no gi, but wouldn't exist without
your ability to stop my guard pass in a no gi scenario. Just completely created a way more different, a way more dangerous approach to what that no gi system that you're really trying to implement was able to do. So I thought that was really impressive. That's when it really, I felt like maybe there might be an opportunity to bring you on with Academy, and the rest is history. I'm glad that really worked out, for the benefit of our students, because the whole thing is like, that's like the whole thing. I always try to eliminate my ego and all that. Like some people, they get submitted by somebody and they're like, oh, screw that guy. That's like my nemesis in the room. Not like that. People really have enemies, but they just want vengeance. It's not so much in the like, oh, like how can we collaborate? How can we help each other get better? And then I think the coolest part became once you started training, once you started teaching here in this room at Academy, teaching our advanced no-gi class, we actually started helping each other out by rolling a lot, by training a lot. Up until recently when we both just coincidentally had a bad knee injuries, mine, I don't know how bad mine is. It's only been a couple weeks, like 2.5 weeks since I've had mine. And how long has it been since your knee injury?
A month and a half.
So we're both on the mend, but, and it's, but the thing I say is, if your sensei doesn't have a limp, do you really have a sensei?
It's like a non-fat cook. Like if your cook is fat, you don't trust a non-fat cook.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're like, I don't know about this guy. Yeah, I mean, I'll eat at the other place with the big cook. The guy knows what he's talking about. So it's like, I mean, it really is that we're. I now hurt my good knee. That was like I was always like, oh yeah, at least I got my good knee. Because I had meniscus surgery on my left knee, and that's kind of been like back and forth, and then I always have my good knee to like rely on, but now it's like the whole thing's going to crap. But it's okay. It's funny because when I start becoming expressive about like my injuries and all that, you could always see like the tears of a clown in me, where you're like, wow, I could really tell Hector's really hurting. I'm like constantly when I'm feeling good, I train like twice a day, every day. Maybe that, contributes to my body falling apart, because I guess it's like you only have so many good miles left, maybe.
I mean, because like the hobby is like people who are like, if people are just training for hobby, you're not gonna get hurt, right? And like most people, it's the competitors who are like all day, every day.
Yeah, because it's like I've always, since I started training, one of my earliest coaches, Brian Reed, instilled in me, always train in a manner where you're training harder than the other guy, so you never have any doubts. It's completely eliminate all doubt. It just makes you feel awesome because you're like, oh, I'm going to crush this guy, whoever I'm going against. I don't even know whether you know who they are or not. You absolutely need to prove to yourself that you're training as hard as you can, so that there's absolutely no doubt that you're prepared, right? So you could do that for a good while, and I guess the miles add up, and catch up to you, but it is what it is. There's every single day that I train, I'm always grateful because it's sometimes not even a jiu-jitsu related injury that takes you out. It could be anything else. I have a lot of injuries that are not jiu-jitsu related, so it just goes with the territory of being active, but But yeah, man. So what was the last tournament you did? Was that a Jiu-Jitsu World League tournament?
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu World League.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a good like a month and a half ago.
And before that, you know, right now we're still, you know, lately tournaments have started to come back. But before that, were you doing any other big tournaments or?
Yeah, I did. This year I did a couple of the high rollers.
Okay.
And then I went to Eddie Bravo has his qualifiers for all his big events.
Oh, okay.
So I did.
So that's all like in-house qualifiers for.
Those were where it's like for his EBIs.
Oh, okay.
So I did a couple of those. I had the couple of high rollers. I did a couple of pro events earlier in the year too. Submission only series was one of them. And I did a fight to win. That was probably my best showing was my fight to win.
Awesome.
Which was fun.
Yeah, that's being out there on that stage. That must be really cool. I've never done one of those. Yeah.
I got all the lights, you know,
yeah.
going and stuff. That's fun.
Yeah, it would be fun to do one of those. Now that you're training at 10 Planet HQ, one thing you brought up to me recently too is that you also train gi. So can you tell us a little bit about that right now?
Yeah, so I get all my no gi from Eddie Bravo, but the gi comes from Alberto Crane. So I train gi under Legacy at Legacy Burbank. So that whole Alberto is the first American Gracie Barra black belt. So he's like the OG of, you know, like there's like 5,000, you know, Gracie Barra schools around the world now. So he was like the original, you know, like American Gracie Barra. So it's that very similar to checkmat, right?
Yeah.
With that traditional like as solid as it gets with fundamental, you know, foundation. Like,
man, that's super awesome. I actually I went to visit Legacy not too long ago. I had a friend invite me down, and then I show up, and then Anthony Cruz is my friend, and he says, would you be interested in teaching a class? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want me to teach? Let's see how this goes. And then before you know it, like it was an afternoon class, noon class, and I just couldn't believe how many people showed up to that. And then it ended up being, I don't know, about like 8 or something black belts or more, and I ended up teaching my Bravo Choke series, and everyone seemed to like it, and people were asking a lot of questions, and it was very well received. But they're just so welcoming, the hospitality. It's such a great community over there. So that's one thing that going over there was really cool, because I love being part of the larger jiu-jitsu community overall. You know, we're checkmat, and we're super proud to be checkmat. But I do love having friends everywhere. You know, whether it's Gracie Barra, like Legacy, which is not Gracie Barra anymore, but it's its own thing. You know, 10 Planet, going through visiting 10 Planet, whoever the school may be. I just love putting any sort of flags or politics aside, and having friends everywhere. Especially like you go to the tournament, and you end up competing against some of these guys. At the end of the day, you're all like trying to do the same thing, you know. So it's just awesome, you know. But then there's so much to learn too, and everybody has a different take on jiu-jitsu, their background, and there's only more to learn by collaborating, you know. So that's kind of the way I feel about that. But yeah, I actually ended up doing a podcast. I was on Alberto's podcast. So I'm not sure if that was released yet.
I don't think so.
No, it wasn't released yet. But yeah, that was real fun too. But yes, so what's the future hold in store from you if and when you're back on your knee healthy? What do you want to do this year? It's
gonna be either PT. If PT doesn't work, I'll get the surgery. But it's that my eyes are on ADCC in 2 years. That's
okay.
Like the ultimate goal is like get to ADCC, and that's what I was training hard for. And I was feeling really good. And like this year could have been my year.
Yeah.
But I know that in 2 years it'll be like it will be.
You got plenty of time.
You know what I mean? So
you got plenty of time. I mean, you're definitely young enough to do it, and you just right now what you're doing, especially with teaching, is going to set you up to have your fundamentals super strong. If you notice, pretty much all the guys that are at a high level competition, they're most of like 90% of them are doing a significant amount of teaching, and that really does solidify your game plan, everything, you know, tightens up the details and all that. So I know you'll be back and ready. Hopefully we'll both be training again soon. And more than anything, one of the things that I have in my heart to do most, and all of our coaches as well at Academy, is to stay sharp for you guys, our students, so that you guys are able to come up and be part of that journey as well too. It's not just like we're here to go to the top. Honestly, and I'll tell you straight up, and I'll tell everybody, is I care way more about my students' achievement than my own. And I have different ways of kind of tallying up achievement, and some of it is through the performance out in the jiu-jitsu scene and all that. But for instance, like Danaher doesn't care about winning a tournament. He cares way more about his students racking up all these wins. So that's more the transition I'm starting to make right now, where I care way more for my students' success than my own competition success. I just train to stay sharp for my students. You, on the other hand, because of where you're at, where your potential, your age, and everything that you have on it, I'm going to make sure to try to keep you accountable so that you push, because it's tough. And one thing is, like, and I tell all my athletes is, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Keep pushing through. It'll be worth it. And at a certain point, we're gonna have the conversation when we're at the bottom of the barrel. We're at the lowest lows of the deepest valleys, where I'm gonna have to remind you, I promise you it will be worth it. I never said it would be easy. You know?
Yeah.
Shit's gonna, I mean, well, I don't know how many kids are watching this right now, but it's gonna get tough. The higher up you go, the closer you get to that level, it's not gonna get easy, okay? So I just promise you it'll be worth it. I promise you it'll be worth it. But I never said it's gonna be easy, okay? So just remember that. All right, so we'll leave it on that note, guys. I promise all of you it'll be worth it. Keep training. Come on in the room. More than anything, guys, when you guys are ready, I want you guys to all know, everybody that's at Academy, all students 2 stripes and up are welcome to come into this room and take classes with Coach Garrett. Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's a 2-hour class starting at 7:15, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, guys, so besides that, we're gonna be bringing some more advanced classes this direction pretty soon. And those will be Monday and Wednesday at the same time, but I'll let you guys more about that as soon as we can. But besides that, is there anything else you'd like to say, Coach Garrett?
The aliens.
The alien conversation. Okay, that's gonna be part 2 of this conversation on the B side.
That's why I'm here right now.
We're gonna get to. I lured them in with the promise of finally breaking down. But
can I go now?
This alien conversation, but it looks like we're running out of space on my memory card, so we're gonna have to cut this short. But thank you so much for being here tonight.
Cool.
All right, brother. Thank you.